Hey guys, I'm Becky from Book Bite Reviews, and today I'm telling you what I'm planning to read in October. If you've been watching me for a while now, you know that paranormal and fantasy are my favorite genres. I'm also now really getting into adult thrillers. So October is like the perfect month for me. It's also the month of my favorite holiday, Halloween. You guys, I'm so excited. So of course I have a lot of spooky themed books that I'm going to try to read this month. However, for my official TBR, we're only going to talk about the books that I am prioritizing. If you want to see everything that I end up reading this month, then check out my reading vlogs, and then at the end of the month I will also have a wrap up. First up are my book club books. These are first on my TBR. Number 1, because they are the highest priority. Number 2, because they are not at all spooky. So what we've been doing with my book club that I run at my library is every other month is something that is fantasy, paranormal, thriller, kind of like darker themes. And then the other months are lighter themes. So unfortunately, October has fallen on a light month, which means it's supposed to be something that's like contemporary, romance, something light and fluffy that, you know, my book club members who aren't big fans of the dark arts will also enjoy. My official book for book club is The Fill-In Boyfriend by Kasie West. This is a book about a girl who, right before she walks into prom, her date and boyfriend dumps her. And this is the night when all her friends are supposed to meet him, and she can finally prove that he is a real boyfriend. However, when he dumps her and leaves, her plan crumbles. So she sees a boy who's waiting in the parking lot for his sister to come out of prom. She convinces him to spend 2 hours, no strings attached, no feelings, and pretend to be her boyfriend. He agrees. I assume things go without a hitch, and then days later she's not thinking about her real boyfriend, she's thinking about the fill-in. And in order to repay him, she now has to go on a fake date with him to his ex-girlfriend's graduation party. Now, are things going to be simple and uncomplicated and no strings attached? Of course not, people. That's why we're gonna read it. The bonus book for my book club is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This is a 2020 new release about a girl who cannot afford to go to college. Her high school has a competition to be prom king and queen, and if you become prom king or queen, you also get a academic scholarship. Now, how that makes sense, why the school does this, I don't know, people. I'm hoping that it's more of like a pageant where you have to have like a certain GPA and do extracurriculars and do charity and stuff like that. I hope it's not just a normal prom king queen popularity contest, because why are we giving money to people for being popular? So who knows? I will find out. However, that all sounds all great, but you know, where's the drama, the intrigue? She ends up meeting a girl who is also going for prom queen, who is a new girl, and they end up having feelings for each other. So our main character must decide, does she keep going and try to win the crown? Does she choose true love? Is there a way to get both? We'll find out. This month I am participating in 2 readathons. The first one is, of course, my readathon, my annual BookTube anniversary readathon, the Book Bite-a-thon. However, I'm not going to tell you what's on my TBR, number 1, because it's still not finalized, but also because I will be doing an announcement video probably next week, and in there I will share what I'm reading. The other readathon that I'm participating in is the Spooky Bookathon. I did talk about this in last month's TBR because it started in September, but there are 3 more prompts for October, which means 3 more books to read. The first one is horror, so I'm going to try to read Carrie by Stephen King. This is my first Stephen King book. I'm a bit nervous, but I feel like Carrie is a nice softball into the Stephen King world. It's like borderline YA adult because she's a teenager, but it's Stephen King, so I think it's gonna be okay. If you've never heard of Carrie before, this is about a girl who finds out she has telekinetic powers. She has a very troubled home life and a terrible mother. She then gets publicly embarrassed at a high school dance and then uses her telekinetic powers to murder people. So the next prompt is Gothic literature. For this, I'm so excited to read Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This is another 2020 new release. This one is more of a thriller slash horror that sounds really, really amazing. Our main character gets a frantic letter, I believe, not a phone call, I think it's a letter from her cousin who was just married, basically saying that she's in trouble, she needs help, she's being trapped in this house. So she goes off to this house in the middle of a Mexican countryside. Now, the catch is that our main character is not really somebody that you would like call sleuthy or somebody who seems like they're very heroic. She's more of a debutante. And when she arrives at this house, she finds things are not exactly as they seem. Everything is very weird and blood and doom. And the only person that she can trust is the younger son of this household, but he may also be holding back some pretty dark secrets. So I'm very excited about this one. It sounds really good. I've heard amazing things from people who have already read it and reviewed it. I'm hoping that it is very thrilling and suspenseful and also very, very creepy. I love thrillers, but I am starting to enjoy more of like the horror side of thrillers where things are like creepy and scary and I can't sleep. That's what I'm looking for this October, people. I don't want to sleep this month. And the last prompt for the Spooky Bookathon is nostalgia. For this, I'm going to be reading Bluebloods by Melissa De La Cruz. I've read all but the last 2 books of the Bluebloods series, and I would really love to get back into it, so I'm going to start with the first one. I don't know if I'm going to read them all the way through. I feel like I should because I don't really remember a whole lot. But I do remember that this was a series that I loved so much. It is the vampire series that I read right after reading Twilight for the first time when I was very, very young, and I just hope that I still love it. This series is kind of like if Twilight meets Harry Potter. We have a boarding school that is full of very elite, rich, prominent children. The catch is majority of the rich and prominent are actually vampires. The last 3 books that I want to talk about are books that I just really want to get to this month. I'm hoping that I can prioritize them and read them. The very first one is Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin. This is the sequel to Serpent and Dove, and I just cannot wait to read it. Serpent and Dove is about a woman who is actually a witch who gets forced to marry a witch hunter, and he doesn't know that she's a witch. This book was amazing. I loved it so freaking much, and I can't wait to get back into the world. So far, people have just been like dying over this book. I believe that this is a duology. Don't quote me though, but I think this might be it. The next one is The Brightest Night by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This book comes out in October and it is the 3rd and I think final book in the Lux spin-off series, which started with The Darkest Star. These books take place in the Lux world, but it follows totally different side characters. The main one that you would recognize is Luke. And of course, we do have cameos from some of our favorites. And from what I've heard, this book is supposed to have like some amazing moments with characters we've seen before. And I just can't wait, you guys. I love Jennifer Armentrout in the Lux series so much. It's going to be amazing. And the last book that I want to prioritize this month is one that I'm very nervous about reading, you guys. I wanted to read this last October, chickened out, and never did. And that's why it's on the TBR, because I really want it to happen. That book is Demonologist by Gerald Brittle. This is a book that chronicles the life and investigations of Ed and Lorraine Warren. These are very famous demonologists and psychic mediums. One of their most famous cases was the Amityville Horror House, and they also did the Conjuring House. So these are people that you probably have heard of. I did see some stuff on the internet about them possibly being frauds, and I'm like, what? So I really can't wait to get into this. I'm pretty sure that this book is going to be very biased in the fact that they are real. I think they're real. I'm going to stick to that belief. I really love ghost shows and ghost things and think ghosts are real, and I can't wait to get into it. On the other hand, because I think this stuff is real, and this is chronicling their real life investigations, I'm terrified. Like, I think and hope that this is going to be, for sure, a book that doesn't let me sleep, and fingers crossed. Alright guys, those are all the books that I'm prioritizing in the month of October. Definitely be sure to leave a comment and tell me what you are planning to read this spooky season, or tell me if you've read any of these books already. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, to please give it a thumbs up. If you loved it and you want to see more bookish content from me, please hit subscribe, and if you want to be notified as soon as my videos go live here on YouTube, hit the notification bell. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!